Good afternoon, and welcome back to Heart of the Matter podcast. My name is Sherry J, and I am your host. On this podcast, we discuss the issues that matter most to your heart. So today's episode is episode 29, and it's going to be a really touching episode today. It's going to be a really maybe heavy episode that we have to discuss. But nevertheless, that's what we're here for. That's what the podcast is here for, to heal with our just talking out issues and talking about things that are occurring in real life and not being afraid to talk about those things. So, if you are on, I would ask you to drop your name or just say hello to me so I can know you're on. Also, please share this live. Again, the time is back to is at 7:30. So I tried to announce that to you guys. I know this is my second week saying 7:30. So that's the time going forward. It allows me to be at Bible study, which I need to be each week. So So I'm just going to wait for more people to come in and we'll be getting started real soon. If you are on, like I said, I like to know who my listeners are, who's on with me. Just say hello, say what up, though, whatever, however you want to say it. All right. I'm just waiting on, I have a few guests that's going to be coming on, as well as my co-host should be joining soon. Waiting on Melita. And if you are on, please share this live. So I'm going to be getting started soon with my spiel. And then I do have a guest who's going to be coming on and sharing some of his experiences with us. Again, this is a really heavy topic for a lot of people just because most people don't want to discuss this type of stuff. It happens so often, but most people, either brush it under the rug or, they just feel guilty and they, pretty much hide that it did happen. So I know this was gonna be like kind of touchy. I knew it was gonna be more like, people kind of shy away from it. But listen, we gotta do the work to help the community because most of the time we hide this type of stuff, and then, children, men, women, they're hurt behind it, and yet we I guess we just don't get that as a community or as a whole, that the effects of this type of stuff. So the topic today is abuse. So we're going to be doing a couple of these. This won't be the first one, the last one, but we're starting with female pedophilia. And the reason why I actually started this topic was because I was actually it was already impressed upon me to do abuse, right? Because it's so much of it, it's hidden, it's not talked about. It's, and again, like if you can see this live, normally we got so many people, hey Rita, on here. And, a lot of people, they just shy away when you come to this topic because a lot of people are in this. A lot of people abuse people. Some people even are still going through it actively. And a lot of times most people don't want their deeds to be revealed or even talk about what they've been through. So that's why it's so necessary, despite of who's here, to make sure that we are still doing our part, because you have a responsibility, if you know something, to say something and not just sweep it under the rug. So um I'm going to jump into my spiel and what I did find on this topic, because it was really hard, because normally we talk about the men, right? When you think of abuse, you're talking about a man abusing a woman. It's usually, or a man touching a child or something like that. It's usually never the woman, touching a child. And so when I thought about this topic, I didn't actually know which way to go with it, because I'm like, well, you know what? I don't ever, what I'm saying? Like, it's so many avenues, of abuse. But I actually was just scrolling down my timeline one day, and I saw Odell's comment, and he was like, you know what? When are we going to discuss, female pedophilia? And I'm like, "Oh, wow, there it is. That's my first topic." Because I was really torn, like, which way, what should I start with? And I thought about this topic because I'm like, most of the time, again, we don't talk about the females. We talk about the men. So I think it's good to shed light on it that this is a serious topic and that it happens so many times in so many households. So I'm gonna jump right in with my material. Hey, Linda. Hey, Merely. All right. So I'm gonna jump in with my material. So I actually did find a few um did find a few articles. They were not articles from you from us like the US. They were like this one is by Toronto Star, and I'm going to share it in what it says about women and pedophilia because I thought it was very interesting. So let me share that with you. So this is from Toronto Star, and it says the court says pedophilia does not apply because a perpetrator is a woman. So there was a Toronto woman who was sentenced to prison for child porn related offenses, but she avoided being classified as a dangerous offender, and her gender played a part in that decision, is what they're saying. So this woman here, she didn't get the same sentence as this man who actually did the same thing, but he got a 6-year sentence. So these are the things that happens when it's a woman versus when it's a actual man, which is unfair, but this is the type of stuff that happens. I also have a video I'm going to show real quick, and this video actually it actually talks about basically female pedophiles, and I'm going to bring it up right now so you can kind of get a feel for what we're talking about, what happens in everyday life, and how women are not looked at as predators, but they are. Hey, Erica.
As parents, do you think that we should be rethinking our advice to kids? Because I've got a teenage son. He's at secondary school. We've had the chat about girlfriends and on all this sort of thing, and making sure that you treat girls with respect. Don't feel pressurized into doing anything just because your mates are doing all that sort of stuff. But as a parent of a teenage boy, it hadn't ever occurred to me that
No.
I should be having a chat with him about older women.
No, and that's the sort of thing that you would talk to your girls about, but it would never have entered my head
No.
to talk to my son about it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, he's 23 now. He knows all the worries and whatever. But I mean, I never had that conversation with him. Have you had the conversation with your kids?
Well, no, I don't have a son, but it's a funny old one, isn't it? Because I remember being at a party a couple of years ago, and there were a group of men, kind of about my age, like 40s, 50s, whatever, and they were all talking, and they were talking about losing their virginity.
Yeah.
And a couple of them were saying one had lost his virginity to an older babysitter, and another one had said he'd lost his virginity to a teacher, and they were talking about it in very kind of like, well, hey, kind of terms.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And I think men get kind of quite misty eyed about the thought of older women taking advantage of them. And but imagine women, we wouldn't stand around at a party going, oh yeah, when I was 13 it was great, my much older male teacher took my
Yeah,
it would
yeah.
just
No.
be
Because I
complete,
think it's because men don't realise that they're being groomed. They're being groomed in exactly
just
the
the same
same
way.
way.
Yeah.
And I was a bit ashamed of myself this morning when I was reading this article. I was surprised. I was surprised by myself because as I was reading it, I was thinking I wasn't feeling as shocked and horrified as I would if it was a girl, and I was really questioning myself on that. I was like, why? Why is it exactly the same? These boys have had their innocence taken away from them, and because there is this bravado and this, it may be even more difficult because they can't even say that they didn't like it or
I
that they felt
suppose
any
part of
shame.
the problem was, though, Naj. I mean, one of the men said at the time he thought it was cool. You're at a really vulnerable age. It's a time when all your hormones are pumping, and as a boy, you're almost desperate to do something with those hormones, if you know what I mean. And the fact that a woman is paying attention and encouraging you. I don't necessarily
Well,
know if a boy would feel groomed or vulnerable. He would just think that was amazing.
and a female
As an adult,
paedophile,
obviously you have to
a
protect them from
female
that.
paedophile, just like of what we know of a male paedophile, would approach somebody that might be, is knows that to approach maybe somebody that's vulnerable or lonely or got other problems, and a boy is just as vulnerable to that kind of grooming as a girl would be.
All right, so I know that was kinda like a couple moments. Okay. I know that was a few like 2 or 3 minutes, but if you guys listen to what she said, and this is a commentator from, like, the UK, like, London or somewhere, this is not United States t people talking about this, but she talked about the babysitter, how a lot of times it happens with babysitters, and then even with boys. Most of the time when a female touches a boy, they don't actually feel like it's something wrong, they just feel like it's cool, it's neat, and it's something that, is accepted because, "Hey, I got an older woman," or something to that effect. But there are a lot of issues that come along with that. And we're going to be discussing those in just a few moments. I'm going to be bringing on my guest, and just to give him a brief introduction. And like I said, I he's a Facebook friend of mine, and I actually saw his status when I was scrolling on Facebook. But he's an entrepreneur. He's a coach for all types of children. He told me he's running for city council soon, which is really, really good. And he's one that's not afraid to stand up for the truth. So I'm going to be bringing him on along with my co-host. She's going to be coming on, Melita, which of course you guys know her. She's definitely a woman of God, and she's also she also has a master's degree in psychology. So she's going to help us sort through a few things, a few different keywords, and um, just this conversation in general. Because, like I said, it's a heavy conversation, and most do not want to discuss this type of conversation. So I'm going to bring my guest on to not further prolong the time. All right. What's up, Odell? How you doing?
What up, though? How everybody doing? Is that me in the background?
Yeah, so you're on. I don't know how it looks on your side, but
No, I was thinking of the static. I thought I heard a little bit of static.
oh no, that was me just rooting for you. Like, yay.
Oh, okay, okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, that was just a sound effect. No, but how are you today?
I'm doing good. I appreciate the gracious introduction. That was gracious. So I said that gratefully. And yeah, it's a heavy topic, but I'm gonna come at it at a lighthearted angle,
Okay.
so I won't weigh people down because it is a
Yeah,
heavy topic, but it needs to be discussed.
it
And
does.
I am running for third district city council. That's on the east side of Detroit. Scott Benson ass is out of here. Excuse
Oh,
my French, but he has to go.
okay. Hey, look, if you're trying to make a difference, I'm all for it. A great difference. We need people who are gonna stand up for the truth in this day and time. Like,
That
again,
part.
this is a light. I mean, it's a heavy topic, but our viewer like I'm like, where are our normal viewers at? But like I said, when this type of stuff comes on, most people do not want to discuss it, and they're just like, they just fall back, and but we're gonna do what we got to do. So I'm gonna bring Melita on because, like I said, she is a part of our team, and I'm gonna have her just on to hear and listen, and she's gonna give us some knowledge about different effects as we talk about and discuss your story. Okay, hey, Melita, how are you? Can you hear me, Melita? You're on.
Yes.
Okay,
Hello. Yeah, my internet's been acting weird lately right now. So for some reason.
okay. So what I'll do is because I do. Okay, you're there now. At first, it was kind of going really not good, but it's good now. It's better now, so I can kind of see you better. Okay, trying to get it set up. Okay, can everybody see me and we're good? Okay,
Good.
so we're gonna start with Odell because I brung him on. Like I said, Odell. Um, At first, I just want to ask what prompted you to write the status about, I guess, the friend that you knew that was in this situation. I'll let you explain the situation that he was in.
Well, what made me prompt the stat was it's always discussions and things about uncles and men touching men or females. But in this particular case, it was more of, wow, a friend, a female friend, was trusted with a daughter of a female friend.
Mm.
And they were the predators of a young girl. And I feel like in today's society, people are so liberal with who they lead their kids with.
Yes.
And they trust their friends and things of that nature. And they really don't know their history more than they would question if they were with a man.
Right.
So this particular person was put in danger by a woman, and no one would ever think that their friend or a woman would be the aggressor or the attacker. So that's surprising, and that's what made me talk about it. And then I remember in personal relationships growing up where, you know, I didn't want to be kissed by the babysitter.
Right.
So kind of struck back those type of memories. So it kind of all went hand in hand, and I was like, "Hey, we need to talk about this."
Yeah, we do. So, and I know, like I said, this is a heavy topic. You said that you were kissed by a babysitter. How old were you when that occurred?
Probably was like 9,
Wow.
10, like every other weekend. My parents worked late,
Yeah.
so I was always with a babysitter, 9, 10, till I got older and I was by myself. But you never want to come out and say, "Hey, I was being kissed by the babysitter." And when it is acknowledged, it's like, "Oh, older women like you, boy. That's a good thing."
Exactly. Yes,
So it's like a
exactly.
welcoming,
It's welcome.
coming of age type deal. When truly, I really don't want to be kissed by this lady.
Exactly. You know what? And like you said, most people are telling you like, "Oh, that's hooray, you won," because even though, you're 9 years old, you're a man. Oh, somebody wants you at that age, and it's so unfortunate that of women get a pass on abuse because that's abuse. I don't, again, regardless, you're not that child's parent. You shouldn't be kissing this child on the lips. You shouldn't be making passes at this child. And a lot of times we don't give it the proper investigation because it is our son versus our daughter. And I
Correct.
have we're gonna hold because I have I think I had well, I showed you guys already the statement where it said that when it comes to court sentences, that of course they're going to get convicted more and they get more jail time because they just don't think females, are this aggressive. But as time has progressed, the females have actually more data has been surfacing where the females are actually showing to be more offenders. And I'm going to bring this up. This is kind of disturbing. This what I found on UCLA. They did a study about this issue, and it is really disturbing, guys. So some things I may not read because I don't want to, say everything. But yeah, I'm going to read this article. Let me go ahead and share it with you guys real quick so you guys can see it as well. And please, if you are in the comments, let me know what you guys think about this. Do you know somebody who experienced this? How do you feel about it? Are you are they actively pursuing like justice? Because everybody deserves
Yes.
justice in this situation.
Yes.
It should not just be like handled like, okay, it happened, get over it. No, people deserve to be vindicated for what was done to them. So I'm going to show this real quick. Okay. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. So it says female sex offenders are more common than you think, reveals a study. And so this was done in 2017. So like I said, there's not a lot of information geared towards female sex offenders. It's mostly all men. And I understand that was the biggest um, you know, I guess crowd or, before time, men were the bigger aggressors in this area, I'm thinking. But it says a US study has revealed that female sex offenders are more common than first thought. So that was surprising. It says while cultural stereotypes lead us to consider sexual offenses by women as rare, a team of researchers at UCLA School of Law found this to be far from the truth. And that was disturbing. Like they said it's far from the truth. So here are the statistics right here. So they said that a 2010 survey showed comparable results, estimating that nearly 4.5 million men in the US had at some stage in their lives been forced to do something to another person. I'm trying not to be graphic on here, guys. And that in 79.2% of cases, the perpetrator forcing the sexual act was a woman. That's almost 80%. Like that's a high percentage here. They also have a US Census Bureau which revealed that in 2012 there was a study of a percentage of women and men who admitted to forcing themselves on, on a child or so, and it was 43.6% that were women, 56.4 that were men. So does this shock you guys? Like that's a lot. That women are almost neck to neck with men, and I would have never known this had I, not tried to do any research or this topic even came up.
Uh,
Yeah,
wow.
that's a staggering number. Like
Yes, it is. I would
Yes.
have never thought it.
that, oh my goodness, y'all just that's when I saw that, I'm like, and I even said that, it was a study of 14 men and, it was a high percentage. It was almost 95% women that actually coerced them into actually, having sex with them or doing, as a child. This is so shocking to know that women are out here like this. And so, Odell, when you bring your story about when you made the post that female pedophilia is very common but we don't talk about it.
Right.
But also another guy who Melita had got, she had actually posted his status and he said the same thing basically, and he just said that what about the women who touch on men and do things to them as a child we don't even think about. And so issue
Yeah,
that
but I think the even danger of it is like the higher part to me is it's a girl touching a girl. So you're exposing a, a woman to a whole nother lifestyle. She
yeah,
doesn't even get a chance to be who she is as a woman because she's been exposed to bisexuality
yes,
or homosexuality or LGBTQ to be politically correct. So that's really disturbing. It's not so much, it's expected for the men. They'll say, ah, ha, ha, ha. But it's auntie hitting your daughter on the booty while she twerking
mm, mm, mm.
to the latest Cardi B song.
And so we want to
So,
make this clear because what you're saying is it's kind of expected, not expected as in normal that this should happen between a man and a young girl. But what you're saying is that's nature. What we're saying is not natural is when you have a woman who's actually now, touching a little girl. It's like it's
yes,
out of this world. Like come on,
yes.
it's another level because it's like, and now she's being introduced to, like you said, an alternate lifestyle versus, like the other it being the other way around. So yeah, that's very devastating to hear. Like it's crazy. The world is getting crazy. Melita, I know you had something you were talking about this instance. Did you have anything to add to it?
Um, I think that sometimes when it comes to female, it's harder to pick the sign, to see the signs because it's more acceptable for females to be, affectionate, touchy,
Right.
make certain comments that that a person would look past, and
Right.
things like that. So I think that sometimes it's more it's less, it's hidden a little bit more, and then some guys especially, they may feel like they don't want to admit that they do feel some type of way because of the surroundings of, oh, that ain't nothing, oh, that's my boy, or things
Right.
like that. And so they maybe feel like they're looked at will be looked at as weak or different or quote unquote, or gay or something like that because they're
Mhm.
not accepting of it. Um,
That's a good
so I know that that's the issue too. So,
Yeah, that you're making a really good point, and that's what we're talking about. The men not feeling like they can speak up because, like you said, you may think like, "Oh, you don't like women," or something wrong with you, you know. So it makes you feel like maybe I shouldn't say anything because I'm supposed to like this, and now the man is confused too, and they have feelings just like we do. I mean, Odell, did you have anything else to say to this point?
Uh, I really just believe like a lot of I want to say it right. Let me gather my thoughts for a second. Come back to me. I want to gather my
Okay.
thoughts on this because it's like this topic is
It's very simple.
so heavy, and we understand the male and female aspect of it, but what's deeper here is woman on woman aspect of it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're both wrong. They're
They
both wrong, but I traditionally am not going to ask my child if they just left my favorite aunt's house that didn't touch me. Did they touch you, baby? But auntie like girls,
mm,
and I didn't know that.
mm, wow,
So auntie touched girls.
right.
Understand? Or best friend from work, my ride or die. That's all I got. We
Yeah.
here for each other. And while you getting your free time, she's at home with your daughter, twerking her over.
Oof. Yeah, this is it's too much to think about. I cringe when I think about it. I'm gonna read some comments to kind of lighten everything up. Alan said he said yep, it's celebrated when guys go through it. And that's what we've been talking about. It definitely is. He also said 4.5 million. Wow. Yeah. And I see a lot of other people are really, really taken aback at how big of a percentage is that the women are doing this. As she said, it's very shocking. It was shocking to me. I was like, what? No. Um, Alan said 4.3. What if it shows you that men's trauma, nobody cares about it. Yeah, and this is why we want to discuss it because we want men to know that somebody does care about it. We are required to care about this type of stuff. It's just not talked about because we expect men to again be so strong, show no feelings, just suck it up. You'll get over it. And that's wrong. Merely said women don't expect to get in trouble. They out here clowning behind the scenes. That's right. They don't expect to get in trouble. But I mean, the first article you see, they didn't even want to throw her in jail. They was like, we don't consider her a predator. So they don't expect it because it hasn't been done. They haven't gotten in trouble.
And that's the danger.
Yeah. Very dangerous. Very dangerous if they're not held accountable. That means, and I believe this is why the number has grown because at one point when I looked into this, it was rare. Like you couldn't find it a lot of instances, but now it's grown so big. And that's like Melita said, because it's so subtle. And you don't expect to look at a woman and think like, oh, she's doing this. But if you see a man automatically on a little girl or hugging and kissing her, he could just be affectionate too, but we're side eyeing that. We're like, something going on. But if it's a woman doing it, we like, oh, it's nothing. Because of dynamics of the relationship. Alan said, I know I wouldn't think I'm trying to be a man. Hold on. He said, I know I wouldn't. I would think I'm trying to be a man. I should be grateful this woman wants me. I would think complaining is gay. So Alan, you're saying that's how you would think as well as a man. You wouldn't want to speak up because you're like, no, they're gonna think I like men and I don't. I like women. Exactly. And that's how most men unfortunately think. And it's sad. So we're gonna go back. Those are our comments. Odell, I know, we want to give you a minute to gather some more of your thoughts. did you have anything else to say before I go to this next article?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna. This is a article about dad's rage. So basically, the victim, there was a woman who, and this is the one I think where I was talking about that's really bad. She did a lot of things to some babies, and that she was getting out of jail, and the dad was outraged. And this happened July 12th of 2019. Let me just pull the article up so you guys can see it with me. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see this article here. And again, it's from UK. They have a lot of this. They cover it. You know how most of the time here, we United States, they kind of cover a lot of things up, whereas we have to go to these
Right.
other, news outlets to get news about things because it's just covered up. So it says dad's rage. Vanessa George's victim's dad says he will kill Britain's worst female pedo if he sees her after her shock release. This was 2019. So it said a raging dad who fears his daughter was abused by Britain's worst female pedophile revealed he will kill her if he sees her after her shocking jail release. Wow. Evil nursery worker Vanessa George abused 64 babies and
Wow.
shared, the sickening videos with her.
And she was a nurse. Excuse
Yep.
me.
She was
Wow.
she was a
Wow.
nursery worker. So doesn't say, well, maybe she could have been a nurse in a nursery. I don't know what capacity, maybe so. But it says she was a nursery worker and she boasted it that she was a pedo whore mom. What? That's crazy. This is wow. So she got a minimum of 7 years.
Wow.
Wow. And it says, wow, it says the monster is now due to be released from prison in September after a parole board ruled she was not a significant risk to children. Look at this. So she's not a significant risk, yet she did this to 64 babies.
65. Wow.
This is terrible. So it said the dad who still doesn't know whether his young daughter was abused as George refused to name all of her victims has slammed the decision. The parent who we are not naming had begged officials not to free George at parole. So do you guys think that the father is wrong for this? Even you
Hell
guys in
no.
the comments, yeah, what do you guys think? Like, do you guys think, okay, she served her time and she should be getting out, or do you think this father is wrong for having this disdain for what she's done to these kids
Father's absolutely correct. On site.
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
site?
Six.
On
I
site.
mean, one is
Like the
bad, but
Kanye voice
65.
is up. Is up. On site. That's the way
Yeah,
I feel.
it's crazy. What, like, people are just, and look, she looked nice. Why did she look like she into some stuff? And I
But
ain't trying to.
she has the job at the nursery, so she has
Yeah,
ample supply.
yep, she had
Yeah.
access to these
And
babies.
probably was great and excellent with kids and
Mm.
not side eye.
Yep, that's what Melita said. Not side out because she's a woman, and you just
And so in ways, is it women feel more comfortable with women just in general over a man? Because if it's a man, he's going to be side eye around kids.
yeah.
I think that lets you know the importance of stereotyping and putting people in categories and just looking at societal norms versus, I mean, it still goes back to versus the word of God, because
Yes.
it says that men love darkness rather than light because their deeds are evil. He didn't say
Um,
women love, men love, just men. It means both. So I mean, I guess that's why some of these things, even though it's shocking, it's not really shocking to me, because I grew up being taught that if you're not that you're susceptible to, anybody can do anything. It's not a gender thing, but anybody thing. It's a human thing, a sinful thing.
right. Don't put it past anybody. But it's
Exactly.
a stereotype, unfortunately, that yeah, and for what Odell said, I think women are more comfortable with women. I think that's just the case because, just it's just when it's not. I don't know. For me, I'm just saying. I just think when it comes to a little girl and a man, it just because that's nature. I think that's why I think it's viewed that way because it's nature. Not saying it's natural for a man to do that, but it's just the natural way things work. So that's why I think men are looked more like and the females. It's just really unnatural. So it's like, hold on, we don't even look at this that way, and we should. We have to start looking at it that way, unfortunately.
Uh, um, you know, statistics and psychology and stuff, they show that women are viewed as the nurturers. um so they don't see them as the perpetuators because they're the caregivers and caretakers, so they're seen as warm and safe.
Right,
We naturally connect women with safety, warmth, caregiving, nurturing, you know fragile, less, not a threat, less threatening. We don't see them as the enemy or aggressive or any of that sort. Psychologically we don't.
right. No, you're right. We don't. We just don't look at women that way. And as many times as women have done all kinds of craziness, we still don't look at them that way. But if a man does do anything, oh, it's over. He's viewed that way for life, and he can't come back from it. But with women, we do oftentimes give them more of a pass because they're a woman and they're sweet and all this other stuff that's supposed to be that way. But it's really unfortunate that we have to even address this, but it's getting so out of hand. And like I said, a lot of people have been through this trauma, and they don't even want to talk about it. They don't want to say anything because, again, they don't want people to get in trouble. They're embarrassed. They feel like nothing can be done. It's a lot of different reasons. Do you have, Odell, do you think, of any other reasons why people may not come forward with this type of information?
They don't realize the damage is done to them,
Yeah.
Yes.
like in
Good
in
point.
their adult lives.
Wow.
Yes.
No, it's
So what
like
type of things? What
I,
type of
I was
examples?
just having a discussion with a friend of mine before we came on the show, letting him know I was going to be on this podcast, and he was like, "Yeah, because they used to call me out and say pull your pants down, and now as an adult, that's what he liked to do to women.
Oh,
He
hold
can't
on.
deal with a woman if she's not like pull his pants down."
Oh, wow. That's deep.
So these things affect people whole life and
Oh,
dating and
yeah.
everything just based off someone's ill spirit on a child.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, that's really sad.
Well, forget coming out and all that. Is this person knows the damage it's going to cause because it probably happened to them and they're
Yeah,
passing it along.
right.
In today's society, it's like no one's to be trusted. And I feel like if we're going to trust, the women are going to depend on each other in our community, like you guys depend on each other and support each other, then we have to bring these issues to the forefront because, hey, auntie, niece, cousin, best friend, she's capable of doing the same thing that Uncle Kelly did.
Yeah, you're right.
And I don't think people go into it with that aspect open that way in these days and times.
Nope.
I was looking at a study and it actually was saying that the a lot of these women are the child's, especially the sons, like, we had a podcast on that a while back. Their parents, their
Mm,
moms, their moms, their aunties,
I
sisters,
saw
grandparents.
that. Yeah, I was when they said their mothers, I said, "What?"
Yeah,
Mm,
that's that's the most common woman, that the closest one to them, to be.
I can't imagine that. Like, your mother doing some things, but we saw the movies where with Monique and the different movies where they're doing things with so we saw all that. And this it's just it's disgusting to me, like the way I think. I'm like, ugh, y'all just you know
But
just
we're heading into a dangerous territory now. And not to cut your thought or cut your wisdom short, but we're heading into a dangerous territory because this is going to be legal soon. Because you can't tell me I can't like children. If you can be a whole woman and
Mhm.
you're a man, then I can like children. And that's my thing. And
Mm.
this is where we're heading.
It's
Mm,
the truth.
So that's why it's important to find some type of way to educate on the thought of you guys being nurturing, because you can learn that women, females are nurturing from birth,
Yeah.
but now it's a predator.
right. Wow.
And it's actually most of the time, like some of these things have, it's been, but it just wasn't common, to talk about. I know someone who well in their 70s, who would have been well in their 70s, and they were molested by their aunties. So, auntie or whatever. So, these things are they've been happening. Of course, they're happening more and more often. It's become more and more normal for your teacher, for these young men and stuff to get with their teachers and
Mm,
things like that. They're bragging about it all growing up. Oh yeah, I hit my teacher, blah blah blah. And it's just becoming something that you do. Oh, you couldn't smash a teacher?
wow.
Then you the problem.
Yep. All these teachers are going to jail. So I see a lot of them on TV. And I'm looking like, you 24, why are you talking to a 16-year-old or 15-year-old? What is wrong with you? Like, that's just crazy to me. Even y'all remember the story of the woman who had the baby with the guy, the boy? She went to jail and I think everything got out. They got married and everything, and now they're divorced. But that's just, you took that young man's childhood and like, because he's a boy, again, it's like, okay, well, you're a man. You got it. And it's terrible. And I don't hopefully I know it's gonna be legalized, like you said, Odell. I haven't looked at much research. I know they're talking about it. But see, the thing is, when I was reading that I did not like is major thing. Most of them said, well, if you just thought about it and you didn't act on it, you're really not a pedo. You're just attracted to minors, but you didn't act on it. No, if it's in your thoughts, that's what's in you. And if you get the right opportunity, you will act on it. So you just haven't had the opportunity, which is the same thing. But that's how their society is putting it. Oh, if you didn't act on it, you really didn't do anything wrong. And it's really selfish to think that way. I'm gonna go to a couple comments and then we'll go back into the discussion. Alan said nasty trailer trash. Um, Linda said a lot of times the young man carries that all the way through his adulthood, and it affects their life. Yep, like Odell said. Merely said, "Yep, the age of consent will be lowered." Oh, have you heard what's the age gonna be? Because I'm really nervous to hear that. That's
Wow.
not good. We gotta really pray about that. Because oh, I know it gotta happen though because
It's
we
like,
know.
if anything, with the way things are going, you would think that that was incentive to raise it,
Yeah.
because
No, 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 because if you look at the bigger picture, the people that Kanye talk about really do control, and that's what they're into.
That's
You
yeah,
know, they order pizza. So they order pizza, then everybody need to order pizza.
It's horrible. Rose said, "Hey Rose," she said, "I had conversations about how uncomfortable it made me when women hit on my sons when they were teenagers. It's very
mm,
disgusting to hear grown women sexualizing my boys. They have no shame and didn't understand. I didn't take it as a compliment at all, man. And man, listen, were these any of your friends, Rose, or were they just random people? I'm curious to know, like, because I haven't had that issue like with my sons yet. Like I know, I have two teenagers now, but I haven't really had that issue of me actually seeing it, right? So I'm wondering, were these friends that you knew, or but I know it happens, you got to be careful about that too. Merely is saying he's hearing 14. Oh, wow. So they can't even get through high school now? 14 years old?
It
That's
start younger than that. You're so handsome. They keep
Yeah.
telling you
Yeah. You're so, yeah. And that should be outlawed to
you're
tell.
gonna be a handsome young man.
Oh, now I have heard that one, like, from, like,
Yeah,
your baby's so young at that point. You
yeah.
not like me. I'm not thinking,
But that's
you
when
know,
they attack.
yeah. Mm, yeah. You got, oh my goodness.
It's like that's when you get pull your pants down real quick.
Oh, I'm almost can't take it. Look,
And
um,
then it's saying, "I'll kill your mother if you tell her."
right, and they worried about their mom. They love their mama. So it's too much. Merely said pedophilia will be changed from a punishable offense to a sexual preference.
mm, mm,
God
mm.
help us all. So, I mean, y'all gotta watch y'all babies. It's your job to watch your babies, and this is why on this podcast we always talk about having both parents in the household, having that husband, that man in the household, because it's so important. He's the protector. And I actually saw a TikTok, and I don't think I downloaded it, but the guy said that he was a predator, like he went to jail and ex-sex offender. And he said that he normally goes after um children. The main thing, well, the children he wouldn't go after was children that had a father in the home. So he wouldn't touch those children that I guess went to church, and children who talked to their friends and relatives. So he, of course, would prey on the isolated children, children who didn't have a father, who felt alone. So
Yeah.
that's what they're normally looking for. Hmm. Rose said it was associates. Oh wow, associates at maybe at her job, or just people who weren't your friends. That's still crazy, and it's that's terrible. Wow, I don't know, this is a lot to take in when you really realize, like, how much this is going on, and, it's a lot to hear it, like, I don't know, did y'all see the couple on TikTok who has it's the white older woman, and it's a younger man who's, like, in his 20s or less?
I think I saw that.
Yeah, that one, they are on TikTok a lot, and I think they were trying to do, like, IVF or something. It's just crazy. Like,
It's
what'd you say, Melita?
it's like TikTok, comment in the TikTok threads too. They'll post like their prom picture, and then they'll post like when they met their spouse, and the spouse to be like 60 and they'll be like 18, and they'll say like, oh, I met them when I was 16.
Oh my
So it's like those are threads that's going around too. um
Oh, I ain't never seen
yeah,
those.
I saw like a few of them.
That's the grooming. That's the ice cream truck, or I bought your kids some gym shoes
Right.
for when they get old enough to attack.
Mm-mm-mm.
So predators come in all forms. Mm,
So now you gotta watch who's giving your kid something. That's a lot. Like, I don't understand why, in our communities, why we shy away from this topic so much. Well, I actually know why, but it's
Because everybody do it in some form of fashion. It's acceptable because you don't want to tell on your sister per se. If you
right.
knew your sister did it, are you going to tell on your sister?
Mm, yep.
And those are situations too where then it goes into a mom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't, am I going to tell on my sister because of my mom, or something like that, or because of my dad, or whoever that sister, the family member is that you value, that who's going to be most affected, and
Like,
what it might cost them depending on if it was on their watch and things like that. So it's a lot of reasons why people don't speak on it. And I was thinking about teenagers with teenage boys, they'll think like because it's common, oh, is it me that's feeling am I the one that's wrong for feeling this way, or
More than
are
likely,
they
most
wrong because a part of me like it, and when you grow up and realize the effects, and then you know then you start to look back and say, wait a minute, that was not what was supposed to happen, that was wrong. Now you feel traumatized, now you feel abandoned, you feel betrayed. It creates mistrust between you not just mistrust the women because of the person who did it, but you also mistrust women because of you you still felt like somebody was supposed to protect you, so now you don't trust
so it
anything,
was taken
anybody, you
from you.
don't put
Yeah.
anything past anybody, because of that. So it creates a lot of trust issues, a lot of trust issues.
Right. Oh my goodness. That so what you and Odell said, it creates trust issues, and like he said, it feels like something's taken. A lot of times with men, I guess, you can see how something's taken from a woman, right? A female, because again, you know, got the way she's created, you can know when she's not a virgin and things like that. But for a guy, you can't know that. But can you elaborate, Odell? Something you said, something you feel like something was taken from you, that is deep.
I mean, it's even like the kissing situation.
Okay.
How many times we even make light of it in comedy shows and movies where they say, "Go over there and kiss your auntie, boy,"
Mhm.
and really, I don't want to kiss auntie.
Right.
Auntie is this is not what's up. This
Right.
is not what's up.
Right.
But it's still forced. So it's taken from me. So now I want to take from somebody else.
Right. Why should they have it? Because your first kiss and all that should be with somebody you wanted to be with, or you know what I'm saying? Well, not
Like I had this happen to me personally. I had sex before. I was 19 years old. It was my first year at Fair State University. It was opening weekend. My parents had dropped me off Labor Day weekend, and campus was empty. The returning seniors and stuff wasn't on campus because it was Labor Day weekend. We went early, and it was a young lady that was on campus that I had started eating lunch with. So we went to lunch a couple times, went to McDonald's, and she came over to my dorm room. And I'm not sexually active, but I like women. And we watched a movie, and at the end of the movie, it was on the VHS, and a porn popped up. So porn came on, and I hopped up to turn it off. And long story short, she was like, "No, no, leave it on. I kind of want to watch this." So I'm laying in the bunk bed, and the next thing you know, she's on top of me, and I'm in her. And she leaves after that, and I'm sitting there like, what just played out here? When
wow.
really, I was just literally raped.
Technically, right.
You understand?
Right.
But to the celebration, to the fellas, oh, she threw it on you.
Right. Yep.
She
That part.
wanted that.
Mm, mm, mm.
Right.
Mm, mm, mm. Wow. Fellas got to stop saying that. I mean, now, I mean, because you don't know. That's so horrible. I'm really sorry to hear that. Like, because I know it's all, you probably dealt with it, but it's really touching. When you hear this, it's like, you know, because I don't believe, not believe, but I just wasn't convinced that women do this. Not convinced, but you know what I'm saying. Linda said, I have always taught my children if anyone ever touched them and they say they're going to kill me, don't believe it. I've pushed that. But a young lady, a little younger girl, when they touch another girl, is a difference. And communicating it to your parents. Yeah, it is different when it's two women because that's not
Yeah.
something that we even look for or even say or even make somebody aware of. Go ahead, Melita.
No, it's just like that's a good point. I think, especially when they're young, because I think that sometimes, especially the closer they are in age with the perpetrator, the less sometimes they see it as molestation or abnormal, especially if they want it. If they or if
Makes
they
sense.
feel like they enjoyed it. I mean, I think that it's natural. Your body, enjoys and has a sensation off of sexual, pleasures or
Right.
sexual activities. And so sometimes that could be mistaken um, as it being okay. If it felt okay, then it is okay. But
Right.
that's not true. So, I experienced that growing up, and I didn't tell my mom because I didn't think it was nothing to tell. If anything, I didn't want to tell
Right.
anything. So I think that those things are, I think also watching out for little girls with other boys, watching out for little girls with other little girls. I think that is a lot of introductions that we don't think, oh, your 8-year-old cousin is gonna touch you, and or whatever the situation. It could be, not related and things like that. So I think as parents, um
Well, once
and as
again, they
people, we
being
just got to be
touched
aware, not
somewhere.
just parents, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, those kids that's doing that is being touched somewhere. They just didn't jump out with that idea though. You understand? It's some adult that's putting it onto them. So they say, oh, it's pleasurable. You're going to like this to their family member or their best friend or the other little girl in third grade. It's just a whole disgusting feel when it comes to the girls. Boys are bad. Don't it should be just the same. But with the stereotypes and the way we've been raised up to this point, that men, we think with our mind, we think with our penis and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's like, hey, that's cool. On to the next. But those same things are happening to little girls, and it's not being spoke on at all. This is how these other little girls are becoming bisexual or saying they like women. How can you say you like women and you don't even know yourself?
Exactly.
But somebody's touching you, somebody's doing that to you, and it's not being looked at, it's not being seen. It's like visible right before our eyes because it does happen. Like you said, excuse me, that, that you have friends that mention stuff about your sons, but you just don't see it in that viewpoint. You
Right.
don't, you're not picking it up in that light. You're not seeing that Cheryl down the street is smacking your daughter on the butt because she twerking, and that's what they doing. And that's what we do when we twerk. Oh, we smack each other on the butt. So it's not looked at as being groped when they doing it right in each other's faces.
Mm.
So when she's down the street at the person's house, and she's like, "Your mama see me grabbing your booty." She ain't say nothing.
Oh my goodness. So she makes it like it's
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
I don't have a problem with it. Mm-mm. That's crazy. Merely said, she said he said minor attracted persons or MAPS is a group of people. They're trying to become part of the LGBT community.
Yep.
Um, well, if they do that, then it's gonna really be bad because they just let them do whatever they want. So yeah, I can only imagine what else they gonna add to that those letters. Mhm.
Whatever you want to be.
Yeah, yeah, really soon. Like,
And,
if
and it's, in ways is okay, but the children need to be protected.
well, that's the thing. You can't if we let one thing fly, you can't cut off where it stops at, right? Either you're gonna do it right or you can or not do it. You know what I'm saying? Because once you
Right?
say, okay, well, y'all adult, nope, you can't let any of it fly because you're just gonna be able to open a door for something else. And this is how it's gotten this way in the first place. So, and I know it's so at a point that most people won't even listen to it, but we need to be standing up for it. Like if like, and it appalls me when somebody said, "Oh, they said that person did that. They didn't do that to that person. They didn't
Yeah. I
touch that
don't.
child."
It's a
How
pet
can you
peeve of
say they
mine.
didn't? Yeah, you can't say what if somebody's telling another person they touched a child or touched somebody, you cannot say, "Oh, I don't believe that." like, because at this point you're at fault too for having a mindset where you didn't believe this person. Like that person could commit suicide, or anything because nobody's believing them. Like, so you got to take that serious when people tell you stuff. Don't say no, that didn't happen. And it happens to so many mothers, father people just say it like that didn't happen. Why would they just make that up? I honestly don't think anybody would just make that up and be like, guess what? Like, I know it happens with young girls sometimes, but I don't think that's just made up. So,
Because it's unbelievable.
yeah,
It's unbelievable.
it's
It's
unbelievable.
no way you're gonna believe that your best friend Francine just asked to see your penis. She did what?
Mm.
Well, yeah, it is. But I think you always need to believe your child when they say something like that. I don't care who it is. We need to take their word and run with it at that point. Like, I would never say, "Oh, that didn't happen to them. They just lying on this person." I would never say that.
Um, we we're taught like psychologists, case managers, we're taught and trained that to believe it, you know, instantly
Right.
to believe it, and if anything, the latter has to be proven the opposite, and not the other way around. They shouldn't have to prove that it happened, you
Right.
know. Because that puts children in, like, they are very aware, regardless of, like, we always act like children, they don't know. They are aware that mommy loves you know, mommy loves TJ,
Right.
that this is gonna, mommy might kill, but mommy loves me more, mommy gonna kill TJ, and mommy gonna end up in jail. It's not always about them being scared of what's gonna happen to mommy, but what mommy's gonna do to somebody, or what daddy's gonna do to somebody, or what the family's gonna do to somebody, or how it's gonna break the family member up, how it's gonna hurt this person or that person, and they feel like, oh, I could just take it, I could just
Right.
handle it and deal with it, and it won't, and everything will stay intact, and it'll just be on me. And they sometimes make that choice to handle the burden. I talked to a client, and she said, I kept it. She said she kept it so that it wouldn't affect anybody else, and that's what she thought she was doing. She thought she was protecting the family from being you know broken up or whatever. And she's like, well, I'll deal with it, and I'll go to him, and I'll say what I need to say, or but then I'll just leave it there. And she's like, oh, and it didn't affect me at all, but it did.
You did. Right. You
And
did.
she doesn't even see it. That's how heavy and deep the effects are.
You don't
Like,
see it
it
till out.
literally shapes personalities, perceptions,
Yeah.
emotions, trust issues, relationships, and I'm sure we'll get into more about that. But
Yeah.
it's really effective.
It does. Yeah, we're gonna in this part one about this it's segment of abuse. And next week we'll be talking about, we're gonna do part two of it, but we'll just kind of talk about in general the different, kinds. Um and then we'll also let you bring some, different ways to, I guess, cope with it. Also, like, what happens like mentally or so, to children who haven't been abused, or and just we're going to talk about it in more depth as well, because then we can talk about, also the men, and then, also other topics as well, kids and things like that. We just kind of isolated this one because this one is not talked about, and it's not really even known. Like, most people don't even know this is occurring. So that's
Right.
why I picked this one. But Odell, did you have anything else to say before we end?
I really enjoyed being on the show. It was awesome. This like conversation is much needed to be had, and it was a great start.
Yeah.
So look forward to seeing how the next three episodes of this goes along and how it all plays a part.
Great.
And I really enjoyed this, and good luck on any future endeavors that you got going on. Because if you can handle a situation like this, you can definitely talk about anything. So
Mm.
good luck with your podcast
Thank
and vote Rowan 2025.
Growing
So
20.
everybody, yeah. If you're on the third district, east side of Detroit, Rowan 2025. Somebody has to care about the kids. Somebody got to care about the school system. We
Yes,
don't. AI is here, and we still don't have computers. Make it make sense.
right. That's
Mm.
terrible. Gotta have computers. What? That's wow. I didn't even know that. This must
I
be
mean,
DPS.
DPS, man.
No, they know they should be ashamed. They getting all that money and no computers.
Every kid should have one.
Yeah. Computer or iPad or something, I guess. I thought they
Every year, every year, every year,
oh,
every
yeah,
year,
they don't want to replace them every year, probably. That's
every
probably
year. They only cost $300. You buy them in bulk. Come on, stop playing.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's another topic for
Yeah.
we definitely gonna have to talk about that. But we appreciate you so much for coming on and sharing your story. It's much needed. And we asked everybody to share this live. Like I said, it's a needed topic to talk about, but most people won't talk about it because they're scared or nervous, or they don't want to get somebody in trouble. And some people are abusers themselves. Like,
Right.
you know, we seen that was a
They
large.
are the auntie.
They are the aunties. So of course they don't want to reveal their deeds. They don't want to watch something to make them stop and turn from what they're doing. So but all in all, I think this was great. A great start to this discussion. We're going to be talking more about next week. If you want to join, definitely join next week as well. Odell, if you want to come in,
Awesome.
it's going to be like an open topic. But as well as I say, if anybody runs across a video or something regarding this, what we're talking about, send it to me, DM me or whatever, so I can put it on the podcast next week. But that's all we have today. I really appreciate everybody for coming on, staying with us, listening in. And you know, again, next week we're gonna bring our thoughts and ideas next week. Again, thanks so much for you, Odell. Thanks, Melita, for coming on, and I'll see you next week as well. I know I seen Alan in the comments. And because he just said he didn't really, it's touchy for everybody. He didn't really want to come on with it, and he hasn't experienced any of this. He thankfully, but he can kind of, be empathetic and sympathetic to the people who have. So he'll be on with us next week talking about it. So yeah, but that's all I got for y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. So I'm gonna say bye to you guys, Odell
Peace.
and Melita. I'll remove them real quick. But thanks y'all again so much for coming out. Y'all know I appreciate y'all. And we'll see y'all on next week at 7:30. So share this live, send it out to somebody who may need to hear it or see it. We never know what anybody's going through and what can help somebody or change somebody's outcome or outlook on life. So, and that's what we're here to do, is talk about issues. These may be hard issues, but they're necessary issues that we need to talk about as a community, because nothing can be changed if we keep it in the dark. Okay. So we'll be back next week with some solutions, and y'all know we're going to bring some good ones. So I'll see y'all on next week. Until then, have a great night and stay wise, guys. Bye bye.